Well, hello there. Once again, this is Pastor J.D. Hatfield of the Riverside Christian Fellowship in Hernando, Florida. As always, you can find us on the web at voiceofvision.org, riversidechristianfellowship.com. I'm about to say some things that you've probably heard before, but I'm also going to say some things that I'm not so sure that you've heard before. And whether you're involved in what we're talking about in this video or not, you should still listen up because it's going to help you help others. And I pray that God will use this to help you find a lasting, satisfying peace. Because that's why we chase things. We think they're going to give us peace. And I want to talk to you about why you can't seem to get ahead. Or for others, maybe why you seem stuck in a pattern of sin. Or how you seem to do good for a while. Maybe a long while. But then you do it again. You go back to that old thing. And perhaps you need to see how this is all related. This could be you, or even if it's not you, this can help you minister to other people. Now, if this is you, you know you need to get out of that bad thing. You know you can't just keep going the way you do or going back to that way again and think that some short-term sinful coping mechanism is not going to have some long-term consequences. Sin isn't going to lead you to spiritual success. You know, you probably know that by now, but you don't know why you keep falling for the same old sins. Just when you think you're going to win, you go right back to that old sin. The question is, why? It's because what you define as winning can actually be sinning. It's because you have the wrong goals. And they might be, listen, good goals, but they're getting in the way of God. You might not think so, but let me show you how it happens. Having goals can be a very good thing or a very bad thing. For example, you might start out with a good goal like getting sober. Yes, that's a good goal. And yes, Jesus will help you get sober. But here's the thing about that. You might wind up thinking that if Jesus helped me get sober, now I need to get my life back or go for those things I know I want or need, as if Jesus is your ladder to whatever you define as success. And as long as I have Jesus, I can get my other goals met as well. You say, well, what's wrong with that? I say, thank you, because you've just proven my point. You don't need to get your life back. You need to live a new life on God's terms, not your terms. Those other goals may not be what Jesus wants for you right now. In fact, I know they aren't, whatever they may be. What Jesus wants for you is for you to want Him without having your other goals met. Let me say that again. What Jesus wants for you, what His goal for you is for you to want Him without having your other goals met. It's not about getting just enough Jesus to move ahead to the next thing. And then when I really have enough Jesus, I'll be able to have or handle what I want. No, friend, that is a wrong pursuit. Now, it's not that Jesus doesn't have any good goals for you. Of course He does. But truly knowing Jesus as your lasting, all-satisfying peace, this is the one goal above all else, regardless of all else, despite all else, even if you never get to have anything else. That's what we want, is we want this peace. We think getting those things will give us peace, but then it never does. Or it does temporarily, but then there's always more, more, more. You might really love Jesus, but Jesus doesn't want you to have any idols. An idol is something you feel like you must have, something that you can't live without. It's more than just something you want, something you wish you had. It's something that you won't have peace if you cannot get. Now, think about that. That can just diagnose your problem right there. It's something that you won't have peace if you cannot get. And I have people, they get sober, and then they're like, okay, now this. Why am I getting this? I need to do this. I need to do that. And it's the goal that has become their God. And sometimes you do get it. And you think, I'm finally going to have peace. But I want you to think about something. Sometimes it's something you already had before. And yet even then, you still had no real peace. That's why you went off the track. An idol always asks for more. Think carefully about that. The Apostle Paul told Timothy that some people think of God as a means of gain. That godliness is somehow and simply a means to getting what we want, or that getting what we want is somehow the mark of godliness. And so people think, well, I'm doing something wrong. They're getting what they want. Are they? And should they? And might that be the wrong thing? You see, that kind of thinking will get you, not the questions I just asked, but the idea of what Paul was telling Timothy. That kind of thinking will get in the way of knowing Jesus. Let me say it this way. Sin is like a chameleon. You desire one thing, and that turns into another, and you never have what you really want. True peace. And idolatry is what keeps moving the goalposts. How do you turn that around? You turn that around by making your goal to have Jesus become your true, lasting, all-satisfying peace. It can happen. You need a new goal. People think, I've got Jesus, now these other goals, and Jesus has not become their true, lasting, all-satisfying peace. And so they get to a certain place, and then they're not getting what they want. They think, I've got to go to a different church. I need some kind of new doctrine. If I just had the money, if I just had this, and you hear them, and you can tell they're just not satisfied with life. They're discontent because Jesus has not become their true, lasting, all-satisfying peace. And I'm not saying that people that have him as their peace, then they've got all these things. It may not be that way. Maybe God will have them witness by not having or losing things, and yet Jesus is still their peace. This is what you want. This is what I want. This is what people that aren't even Christians want. They want real peace, and they're chasing it. They call it the pursuit of happiness. We think life, liberty, and all that gives us the freedom, ultimate freedom, doing what I want. This is what kids think. I can just do whatever I want. Woohoo! That doesn't last. Life gets in the way. I just don't want to work. I don't want to work that hard. I just want to lay in bed. I just want to do this. I just want to do that. What I want. I'm not saying I'm there. What I want is for Jesus to become my true, lasting, all-satisfying peace. And it can happen. You just need a new goal. You see, sometimes our goals become our gods. They're what's moving us. We have those goals and we think we have Jesus too, but Jesus is just in the background. You see, idols have the power to hypnotize and deceive you. They guide you away from God and towards the goal itself, even as you think you're moving with God. This is what happens. This is why people get with Jesus. They get off the junk, whatever it may be. And yet those goals really never change because it wasn't just Jesus himself. They think, well, they need to be renewed in their mind. Even as you think you're moving with God. And then you wonder, why hasn't God blessed you? Or why isn't God blessing you? Why is he blessing them? And they're so on fire for God. And really, just think about this. Maybe God has blessed you, just not in ways that people normally measure or in ways you aren't counting. Don't let your goals become gods. Make the number one, all-pervasive, everything revolves around it goal to know Jesus and have him be your lasting, all-satisfying peace. That's enough for today. That's enough for a life. And until next time, we'll see you here, there, or in the air. God bless you. May Jesus become your peace. Amen.